Welcome, and thank you for sitting with us again under the aNvKai tree. I'm Miss Patty because I didn't feel like getting out of drag, and I'm here with
Jip Jack on the attack.
How's everybody doing? I hope y'all feeling all right. We have a very special episode tonight. Our topic is language barriers, and we're talking about barriers in inclusive language. In and around the trans community, we have some really special guests for y'all tonight. We got, the trunk segment is going to be off the chain, so get ready. But as always, we always start off the show because we're
give me all your money, and I will take you higher. Give me all your money right now.
Make sure you support this podcast on Anchor FM /aNvKai/support if you want to support our audio only podcast. You can give a little donation, or you can become a subscriber from anywhere from I think it's $1 a month all the way up to $5. Or if you want exclusive bonus content, merch, behind the scenes footage, special shout outs, a lot of great stuff that you won't see right here on streaming. Make sure you check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/aNvKai tree. We can get all that good stuff. And on our Patreon, we have 4 tiers for y'all. So you could start $3 a month, and you'll get to see behind the scenes footage all the way up to 10, where you get merch, you get monthly bonus content, you get a special shout out at the end of each show. So make sure y'all check us out and support us on Patreon. And let's get into it. So without any further ado, I want to introduce our guests. I'm going to bring them on before we get into the leaf segment, and that's where we sip the tea and read the leaves. So I'm going to bring on our guests and make sure I unmute them, because I'm always forgetting that. Always.
Hey y'all,
welcome. And we'll start with the upper left. And y'all can introduce yourselves going down and let the people know who you are, what you do, why you're here.
I am Daniel, or BIP, or Dip, whichever you feel. I am a producer / artist / thinker. I'm gonna start saying that now because everybody does not think.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Kat.
Pronouns, yes.
Pronouns, sorry. He, him, his.
Nice.
Thank you. All right, Michael, you're up.
All right, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michael, also known as Osunmuyiwa. Non-binary. My pronouns are they, them, their, and I'm here because, like everybody else, we all are here trying to figure out how to be more inclusive with the way we speak. So,
all right. And last but not least,
hi, my name is Yara Orinoco. Michael by she, hers, ella in Spanish. And I just love expressing myself in every way that I can imagine. And I'm here to talk about some shit.
And we love that.
Right.
All right. So before we dive on in, you're not going. I'm just going to bring the spotlight back in. Please make sure you share this. Share it with all your friends, your mama, your baby mama, your cousin, sister, baby father. Yeah. Make sure you share it. Make sure you like and love this post. Loves go really far.
Contact your agoon. Make sure they know.
Make sure they the spirits are there with you, and make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, so that way you know when we post a new podcast on this channel. And so let's get into it. So our first segment for the tonight is the leaf, and we are going to be focusing on inclusion confusion. I come up with the titles here. I'm a Libra. I like to get silly sometimes. But it's really serious though. Jack, you want to start off with our first question?
Yeah. So the first question is, do you think it's important to make a distinction between cis and trans people in any given setting whatsoever? And can you name a setting where it would or would it be appropriate? Anybody want to take her?
That's a tough one. So,
I say yes and no.
Okay.
I say there's a yes to it and there's a no to it. And the reason why I say yes and no is because for some trans people, they like to be stealth, or they don't like to make the identity about just their transness or make them being trans the forefront. They just see themselves as what they identify as. So for you to go out your way to express that is kind of like a trigger for them. But I also see for someone who doesn't mind acknowledging their transness, or that's not a trigger for them wanting to be seen in the room. And also it helps cis people understand that there are trans people in the world, and it kind of normalizes it. So there's like a yes and no to that.
Well, anybody?
I guess to sort of add to what Dip was saying is that I think that yes in the sense that, like, if it's for the purposes of making sure that this particular marginalized group is seen and that we don't just sort of lop every trans person into this one group, absolutely. I think the distinction applies there. But when it comes to just sort of your personal living day to day, like, I can see where that might be triggering. You know, someone constantly honing in on your transness and forgetting your humanity.
Word. That's a word.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yara?
I think it's important to understand what transhood is from an institutional point of view. I feel like medicine, going to the doctor, I needed to know that I'm trans. I needed to know that I'm medically transitioning, that my hormones and my cholesterol and potassium all has to do with the fact that I'm trans. You know what I'm saying? So those things do matter. Like at my job, you know, them knowing that I'm trans allows me to be serviced in a specific way, especially if they're focusing on like creating equitable spaces, like where equity is regarded. So that's important. But at the same time, it's kind of like what Dip was saying, like when you go to a bar or you go to Target, like being seen or passing, there's the pressure of that, and it feels like there's a priority on passing. And I'm just speaking from personal experience, so especially and it all has to do with like what kind of era you live in. So it's a yes or no for me.
Yeah. So what I feel like I'm hearing and I agree with is that like there's a political professional place in which it is appropriate, in that, again, for your health care, for understanding where rights need to be had, you know what I'm saying, and like certain things of that nature, just in terms of, and just basic understanding of each other in terms of like communicating from a political standpoint, the needs each might need that differ, right? But then the social standpoint, it's like, bitch, what does it matter in this bar? What does it actually matter? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like in this bar, what does it matter? Like, I am here, a woman in front of you. I'm here, a man in front of you, and that's all you need to know. And so I decide that you are important enough in a different way to make it your business. Like, otherwise, what are we bringing it up for? You know, it's always interesting when like TERFs decide to bring it up. In random rooms, they'll be talking about their husband, and then suddenly in comes the trans femme hate, and you're just like, bitch, like you didn't even telegraph that you got cheated on. Like, you didn't know this was about anybody but your man. Where did the trans hate come
in the
from?
transphobia?
Yeah,
that's another reason why. That's another reason why I'm leery about people bringing it up, because it's like, why? What's the actual reason? You know?
Yeah.
So no, I definitely agree with that.
Right, yeah, like sometimes it serves a purpose. Like all the things we said before, like medically, sometimes professionally, but like average day doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and not professional social neither. Not like we at the cubicle and talking shit, and somebody on the phone had said something stupid, and then I'm talking to you, and it's like, oh yeah, that's so funny, my trans sister, bitch. What? What does that have to do? What does that have to do with what we talking about? You don't need to mention it. Are you the person? Are you HR? Are you the person that signs the fucking check for me to fucking get my HMO? Like, are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you any of those people? No. Who are you?
Go back to
Linda?
finance.
Yeah,
absolutely. But no, like I guess for me the big thing is, you know, for those listening, like ask yourself, am I othering this person by bringing this up?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Those
Are you outing them?
Even, yeah.
You know, like some people depend on their passability to survive. Like, like I don't want to be. If I go to a straight bar, which I don't, I'm a gay guy's girl. But if I go to a straight bar, I don't want to be clocked. There's like horrible stories about that, and you know what I mean. So
yeah.
And that would challenge people to have to define truly what othering is. Like,
Right.
I think a lot of cishet privilege. And again, if you're new here, which thank you.
Hey,
if this is your first episode, hi.
What's
welcome
up?
to a heavy bitch. She's thick. Yeah, like to define what othering is, I think a lot of people don't recognize that once you recognize something as normal, you've automatically othered something else. You know, like without even having said it. So they won't even like recognize the microaggressions, which we don't talk about microaggressions as it pertains to gender and sexuality and just queerness and shit as much as we should. Because y'all don't see black people as queer, like cis black people, you're queer. But we'll talk about that later too. All of that said, right? What y'all are missing in that cishet privilege is the fact that you get to say, period, oh, this is normal, and then therefore everybody in the room who might agree or even disagree now has a sense of what's othered in your perspective, right? So even little things like when you come up, and we talk about this with race all the time, when you come up to the girls and the dolls and you're like suddenly talking gay white male to us, which is an overperformed black woman, right?
That's
girl,
exactly
yeah,
what I
girl,
saw.
girl,
That's exactly what I saw.
girl,
That's
girl,
creeping me.
girl.
Like, stop you even doing that.
Like, why?
It's making me itch. It's making me
You know?
Listen, the white cis SGL community has been notorious for it. I've seen it time and time again. Where this one young man approached me and was like, "Hey, girl, what's up? My name is." I'm like, "Bruh, it ain't
Don't
that
hate girl
serious.
me.
Don't like, I'm not your girl. I don't know you."
I'm not your
I don't know her. I don't know her.
I don't know her.
I don't know this
Like,
man.
I don't know you.
I
Sorry
guess-
to this man.
And I guess I don't have a poker face because the moment my face changed, they got a little nervous.
And Oshun says I don't have a poker face.
Not at all. I tell people,
They don't. None of them.
my distaste. If something's distasteful, you're gonna
It's
see
not
it right
real,
here.
yeah.
Okay, so our next question for this segment is what do you think is actually the difficulty with pronouns is? Like, a lot of people have a lot of problems with, and not even like neo pronouns, just
regular
calling somebody what their pronoun is if it doesn't like click with the idea of whatever they perceive gender is, and they usually have it confused with a whole bunch of other things in the first place. But what do you think the root of that really is? Like, why do the cis people do that? Why?
Probably because a lot of people never question what informed my thinking. what taught me that this is what womanhood looks like. Half the people out here in this world tossing around woman and man have no clue of the etymology behind them, because they both come derived from the word human. If you look at scientific research, like literally, you notice they never use man and woman. They always use male and female, because neither of those terms is exclusive to the human race. So when you get down to gender at its core, even at an etymological level, it's literally a social understanding, a social construct. So people clutch to the context that they've applied to these words. And
the white man understanding.
Very
You can
much
say the
like,
thing here, Michael.
The white man's teaching and understanding of what gender is.
The honey can
They
have some cayenne in here.
To the whiteness. It is the savior, the whiteness, the colonialism of it all.
Yeah, because we never understood. We miss the fact that a lot of the things that we've aped in terms of what gender looks like, what gender identity is, were never our own thoughts. You look at pre-colonial history in Africa, even if you're talking about the Dogon people, or in certain parts of West Africa where, like, you have the boy wives and things like that. Like, all this information out here on Al Gore's good internet, and nobody wants to look at it.
They would gag at the what, 7 genders that are in the Torah?
Right. Yeah.
Would gag.
7. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
There's 7 genders in the Torah?
Yes.
Yes, the Bible is a highly redacted religious text. Like, don't even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't even
get like 7 genders. I'll send you the info. No, I had to find it.
Yeah, please. I want to know.
You got people out here still thinking that that one scripture in Leviticus literally said man when the word was actually boy.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that entry didn't get changed until the 80s. So we're talking something within the last 40 years.
Right. Like, that's not even a King James change. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Vatican didn't even do that on onset. Like,
it was Joe Osteen. No, who's that?
It probably was
the 700 Club. Who's that old dude?
Oh my God,
what's his name?
I refuse to remember his name.
Yeah.
I'm gonna block it out as soon as somebody says Shit.
I also to add to what Michael was saying, it's the lack of respect and the lack of will to unlearn and to learn. This actually recently happened to me. I just saw a friend that I've known for like a very long time, and standing in front of him like this, he could not get my pronouns correct. And for the life of me, I just don't understand. His children were like, who, her? Daddy, who is a her? And I was like, exactly, right? Like,
where?
So and he was like, and every time, you know what I'm saying? Every time this comes up, it's oh, I'm sorry, I gotta get used to it and blah. And at this point, it's literally just the selfishness and the unwilling to learn what you thought you already knew.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Preach.
Mm-hmm.
In the exact inverse, because it's not converse, right? But in the inverse of that, where it's also the disrespect, right, of, you know, the community and the people around, right? It's also excess of respect for having achieved assimilation. Like,
how dare you not repress yourself the way I did?
You? Right?
Exactly. Oh, I gotta say some shit about that.
Say it.
Speak it.
Listen, so I don't have a trans, MB family in this area. I live in the DMV area. So a lot of my assimilation had to do to assimilate to cis heteronormative culture, which honestly, coincidentally, my identity aligns to being like feminine and everything that coincides like a female body and like the construct. But I just feel for like NB people and the folks that I've grown to know that they're NB, and like NB meaning like non-binary. So there's a respectability politics to abide to, and the pronouns has been something in my life where not only did I need to assert, but I need to teach people how to treat me and what to call me. And it's usually based on aesthetics and how I comport myself and how to mobilize. And like, to be a woman in this world, you have to learn how to hide for safety. And if you don't, women come for you. It challenges them, and if I wear like shorts out in the street or out in the open, it's like a thing. It's just like, why are you doing that? If in my life I needed to like hide to be safe, like why do you get to do that? You know? So there's a lot of social politics that I have to learn and understand that's not about me, and do my role to like listen but not make it about me. Like you like, and I fully understand that trans womanhood is different than cis womanhood, but it's just we're just different kinds of women, but we're all women. And even in cis womanhood, there's like a plethora and thousand types of ways of being a woman, and even the mold is like it doesn't fit cis women either.
Right.
So there's a lot of unlearning that cis women have to do for themselves in order to appreciate us trans women who are daring to be more and challenging the norm. You know, and I can only speak from my experience, but that's what I got to say about that. We have to like, we're challenged with like what's normal and social constructs, and even cis people are like dealing with some bullshit when it comes to that and fitting in.
Yeah, transphobia affects women, period. Just women, trans, cis, in between. It affects women. Like Meg Thee Stallion is a good example of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because Serena Williams,
say it.
Shit,
any dark
skin, man.
Yeah, any dark skinned assertive woman or assertive woman is she thinks she a man or anything like that. Right. So it's sad because at the end of the day, for something that transcends like transphobia, transcends actual gender, you can't really connect on that because you're so focused on, well, you ain't do this, or you ain't grow up like this, or you don't have this, or you got that boo, or da. And it's like half the time
on top of it.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And then half the time it's like we did actually. We did. Right. Like it's been similar experiences. So
absolutely socialized both. Absolutely, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely had femme socialization. Like back in the day, you saw me from the back, you thought I was a female.
Facts.
And that was that. And that was that. No matter what I had on. No matter what I had on. And that was that. And mad niggas got caught up and doubly caught up.
Caught up in that feeling.
Okay. Caught up. Okay.
So, why are you making me feel emotions?
And a niggas in sweatpants and a t-shirt with a beard, and it's like I literally didn't do anything but exist, right? So it's like you can't like the misogyny connected to it really honestly all of it. And this is why when there are terse, and I'm sorry I keep coming back to y'all, but the shit is weird. It's shit is like it's
y'all
weird.
Need to let that shit go. Let it go.
Like it's weird that it's weird that y'all was trying to make more enemies. Like what is that? That's weird. But beyond that, like the misogyny that's inherent in homophobia, transphobia, just queerphobia in general is also based in anti-blackness, right? In that to speak to the dark skin thing that was said by Dip, you gotta understand that like anti-womanness is like literally controlling all of it, and any oppression that men receive that men could even be like upset about, like cis or trans, right, is still based in that anti-womanness. Like everything that you do has to be like those stupid ass videos and reels when the wives or the girlfriends are picking up their man and putting them on the counter. You telling me that it's not sexy that your girl could take you if she needed to You're telling me that it's not sexy that if y'all had to throw hands with some people, that your girl is strong enough to lift you, so therefore could get it popping. It's not like you don't like the only.
You don't think Beyonce throws
plenty of men love that shit.
That's a
right. I'm like, you don't think.
Plenty of men love that shit. They would love it.
And the thing is, you can see that the main issue that they had, that they saw them set up the camera. The main issue that they had is that somebody else would see them do that, and it's you not accepting a submissive role. Which, like, oh my god, if men could just fucking submit sometimes, literally. Of all kinds, just chill. Just like actually let the fam lead and watch. Just watch.
I mean, I just believe, like, in my life, like, yeah, I love being feminine and I love being like lifted because of what I chose to be and how I love myself and how I express myself. But like sometimes I'd be smarter than the guys that I date. And wouldn't it be great if you listen to what I'm saying? Like,
that's what, exactly.
You can't crucify me for being smarter than you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still in my femininity, and I'm not going to stop being smart because it challenges you. You know? So that's the type of shit that, like, it's a challenge when you date like cis men.
And cis women can relate, and it's like so much. I hear the same shit all the time. And when we be like, no, niggas are niggas, and they're like, but why? Like exactly. Like, who would choose men? Who? If sexuality is a choice, who? Who? Tell me who. I'm dead ass though. I'm dead ass.
If I was into femininity, it'd be a different story. But this is the cards that have been dealt for me.
Exactly. ain't nobody choose this. There was literal camel toe directly in my face almost all week, and nothing. Like, no. There's nothing I can do about that. Like, what am I supposed to do? And it's like, if you can somehow convince your brain to do something your body didn't want to do, I guess congratulations. I guess, like, impressive to some degree, but that's like as impressive as shooting yourself in the shoulder from around the world. Like, okay, like you should, yes, aim, yes, like strength and understanding of how the wind gonna travel around the entire world to hit yourself in the shoulder, but bitch, you're wounded.
You're bleeding. I wanted to say real quick, good point, baby. But I did want to say, but why? I was trying not to be weak. Damn y'all. I'm trying to keep it.
Y'all saw it happen. That's why.
I'm laughing because it's true.
Right. Come on. The work, the training.
You get shot in the back of the shoulder.
The training it took. Like, you could have been free, my nigga. You could have, like, just, like, loved yourself a little bit. And imagine all that energy. Like, God. I gotta read y'all, because like the level of unlearning and healing and all of the energy that it has to take to be like, you know what, I'm gonna choose to be myself in spite of quite literally all of the programming saying I should be otherwise, and everything in my life going against my survival in order for me to choose myself. Like, the unlearning, the level, the shit that y'all are afraid to do is not even it. The shit that trans people are trying to ask y'all to do is not it whatsoever. We're literally saying, hey, so just unlearn the fact that, like, somebody has to be the pronouns that they say that the doctor said at birth. That's all we're saying. Just unlearn that.
That's not even right.
That's not difficult enough for you for in this topic for the leaf specifically, right? It's like, that's not difficult enough for us to see a difficulty coming from y'all. The resistance doesn't make any sense because the shit we had to do,
right?
The literal research into, like, wait a minute, like Why does this feel so real and like ancient? Oh, I have to actually look up shit that has to do with something connected to a culture I hope I can connect to because of blackness, and see, oh yeah, it does exist. I'm not fucking crazy. I just live, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all want to continue to make us crazy because cis heteronormativity fit for y'all somehow. Or again, most likely, you were able to become a transformer that successfully, calling us transformers when it's y'all.
Shit, I'm Bumblebee.
And to like deepen that, it's really like a resistance to changing like their worldview. Like they're like, oh, this is how I understand the world, and it's gonna stay that way. And like really, like you can present the best of them with new information, and if they don't want to like change that worldview, I was like, okay, so you're working off something that's functionally incorrect,
right?
And because of some of their places of privilege, I guess that's working for them. Some of them are making it work. Overall, it's like detrimental to everybody because it bleeds into other things.
And I think that's the core. What you just said is really the core, even of what everyone was saying altogether, right? That's the umbrella. It benefits you to not be able to learn what a motherfucker's pronouns are. It benefits you to have those levels of transphobia, homophobia, queerphobia in general, misogyny, internalized misogyny even. It benefits you.
You're definitely right about that. I feel like cis people are very comfortable, and anything that questions their like identity to the core, they attack back. And unlearning to learn to respect you, it challenges their existence. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be like, girl, you need to love yourself to love me. You know what I'm saying? Like, embrace you so you can respect me. Period. And it's not, it's funny, like, you have to fight against people's self-hatred. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard. That's why pronouns are hard.
And with that,
preach.
That is a perfect segue into our next segment. So, all right, I'm gonna say this now. Buckle in, y'all. The fans, the audience out there watching. I might edit some of this down, might not, but we about to go in. So this is the trunk where we unpack something from pop culture. It's a segment where we're gonna watch a couple videos. We got 3 for y'all tonight, so we got a lot to go in on. And you know what? I'm not even gonna do all that. Like, let's watch the first video together. And
pause it, get your popcorn, girl.
And we're gonna talk about it. Oh, right. So the sort of concentration of this segment is, can you see me? And this is where we're gonna hone in on like trans visibility, and also just like, should cis people really be speaking for us in certain situations if they don't have the language and like the skills or the knowledge to do that, even if they want to be an ally? And we're going to get into that too. So let's go ahead. Let's see.
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning. So we can't talk about it
because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies.
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist? Thank
And that leads to violence. Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or are they
Absolutely.
also treated like this, where
No,
they're
they're
told
allowed
that
to
they're
question.
opening up people to
Oh,
violence?
we have a good
by
time in my
questioning.
class. You should join.
I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot
I
just in this
know.
exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
I love how he got spicy toward the end, and she was like, "I'm gonna be spicy right back." So that was
what people was talking about. She cleared the room. I don't know.
That was just a little clip. That was like not the entirety of what transpired. So that was a hearing on reproductive rights. That was professor at Berkeley, I believe, Yara Bridges, against Senator John Haley, I believe his name is. I'm be forgetting the white people names sometimes. Perfectly on the show, but
That's what I'm rubbing off on you.
So the question is, like, do you think a line of questioning can be transphobic?
Yes.
Because some people feel like, well, yeah. Let's. Anyone want to expound, like, for obvious reasons? Yes, obvious.
I'm sorry, Twin. I can't.
I mean, no. I mean, I understand why Miss Patty asked the question, because one, people need to hear things in order for it to click, and also number two, yes, you're so used to norm women. You know what I'm saying? That's something that people use to classify what a real woman is, someone who can get pregnant. And it's like, well, not all the time. So when you say these things, it's like when you actually speak to someone like that white, I don't know who that white man was. I don't care about who he was, but his ideology lives in a lot of people. So when you speak to someone with that ideology, they hit you with these things, and it's like, okay, so what about the woman who's barren? Well, and then they want to bring God into it. Well, God intended, and no. That's not what I asked you. You keep moving, you keep doing this, keep moving the goalposts. Stick to what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you have to learn to include people who you don't think are normal, or which you don't consider normal. You have to learn, that there are these people. Just because you don't consider it normal, because normal is based in whiteness anyway, but because you don't consider it normal, doesn't mean that it's not. These people exist, so obviously it's normal to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, so y'all have to unlearn that foolishness that makes you think, well, you know what I'm saying. No, I don't. I know what I'm hearing. Do you know what you're saying? That's the difference.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, that white man just made me mad.
He was like, "Oh, I'm bringing violence." Like, it's not about you, John.
Yes.
It's what you say.
Like all your people always do. Like
they
anyway,
always
like y'all always do. All you know how to do is be a fucking soul snatcher and a violent pillaging plunder. You know what? I digress.
All y'all are is pain. Anyway.
All y'all are is pain.
Yeah, a line of questions is definitely something that is constantly been weaponized and often like asked rhetorically, right? That they ask you a question, but to prove a point, not because they come from a curious, inquisitive space. It comes from a space of proving a point. So that's weaponry. That's like, you just want to teach me something where in reality you need to unlearn to learn. So
loud, wrong, and ashy. Loud, wrong, and ashy.
Word.
Michael, what you thinking?
To be honest with you, so first of all, we could all see that the only reason he brought that up was intentionally. It was a microaggression. Let's not even play
micro. That wasn't micro. Nothing micro about that aggression. That was a grande.
No. So let's call a spade a spade. Like, you did it intentionally, but heck yeah. I mean, a lot of questioning can totally be homophobic. I mean, and not just from the point of ignoring the existence of trans people, but also like asking those really disgusting personal questions that whittle people down to nothing more than genitalia.
Right.
Mhm.
People forget that, like asking those questions. I mean, Katie Couric did it, Oprah did it, and both of them learned the lesson.
Mm.
Like,
And
hey, so
they don't
what's
realize.
between your legs? Like, who asked
What's
that?
between your legs?
Right.
They don't realize they. Yeah.
I was
Go
just
ahead.
their answer would be, "Well, you know what's between my legs."
No, I don't. I do not.
No idea.
Exactly that normalization. That shit
It could be a Flappy
normativity.
Bird.
Right.
It could be a whole caterpillar down there. What the fuck? What do you mean?
It could
Did you say caterpillar?
Yes.
entire sliver of romaine.
The fuck is you
A
talking
whole
about?
romaine sliver.
It really could be anything.
Who knows?
That's so weird.
And it's like,
That's
yeah.
What you gonna say, Yara?
yeah.
I was gonna say that it's like I feel like it often erases like intersex. You know, the conversation of intersex is not had enough.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
medicine does not know how to determine men and women at its full fruition. There is anomalies and exceptions that people don't like to talk about because it questions their identity. But they exist, and you're erasing it. Also, like to Dip's point, it erases like an Asian woman's identity, right? So from start, there's plenty of women out there who can bear children. Two, there's plenty of women out there who can bear children because of their age. So oftentimes cis women talk about how they are erased and they lose like relevance because they're growing older. So women can absolutely age gracefully. I just think society wants to program us to believe that we cannot. So you're erasing identities that are part of the binary construct that you're trying to uphold.
Right.
So it's like work on that before you come for me.
Right. And then work on, like you said, recognizing even biological sex as a spectrum.
Right.
There is like the idea of a binary is ridiculous at this point. We see in color to the point where TV had to catch up. To the point where print had to catch up because we were like, nigga, what is this black and white shit? Actually, like it was cute for a while. Like, okay, aesthetic,
Figure
like,
it out.
cute. But no, what is this? Like, this is not life. I'm not looking at life in this photo. Oh, now I am because I'm seeing a range and a spectrum of color, and the more that improves, the better the image is. So why would you stop yourself from improving your sight? Like that's so weird. Y'all are so strange. And it's okay. You gotta get red. Just feel it. Get the hits. Feel it. Because you don't get the hits like we get the hits. You just don't. You just don't. So take them. These are taps. Trust me.
And also stop worrying about what's in between people's legs, please.
Just really, it's not your business.
It's weird. It's
Stop
weird.
asking that question, please. It's weird, please.
But to add on to what Yara said, so you want me to tell you why, girl? This is why cis women, many cis women, not all cis women, many cis women, actual femininity is tied up a lot in their parts. And when those parts don't do what they're supposed to do, or when those parts have don't do what they once did, it starts to fuck with like who they are because like if you got the parts, oh, I'm a woman, I'm a girl, move forward in that, and you never have to think about what that means because you got the parts until something happens with those parts. And then you got to be like, oh my God. And that could never happen. That could happen at any point in life. That could happen very early on. But us as like sort of trans women, since we don't have the parts, we have to work on who the woman within is before like that can even like come out. Like it's a lot of like internal work and interpersonal work and shit. Like, okay, like if I don't have the parts, then what is it? And then we have that. And then, so that's what it is. And a lot of them don't have that. And they're like, because they never did the work. They're like, no, girl. And like, I'm like, girl, but I can help you. But I can help you. I can help you find the woman within. Like, that's why we're here. Let's help each other.
It's a sisterhood.
It doesn't have
It's
to
a
be
sisterhood.
like boss. It is.
It's supposed
And
to
like
be-
a lot of cis women are like, oh no, you're taking something away. And I'm just like, I'm
How?
trying to bring something.
How?
Like, I'm
but fam,
a woman. I'm not going to empty-hand it.
This is gonna be short. That's how a lot of trans people get caught up in the changing of their parts as the main focus of their thing, and then y'all wonder, y'all say, "Oh, why are there so many people regretting their surgery?" It's like because y'all make it about y'all parts so much. They have been normalized into making it about their parts. Do you know how many of those people still identify as the gender they identify? They might be like, damn, like I didn't have to do this thing to my body personally, but like I'm still a man. I'm still a woman. Like that's still the case. Nobody reverts their gender. They just be like, damn, I wish I really knew who I was before I did this. Just like y'all don't know who you are in connection to your gender. You are your sex.
Mm.
And that's it. When like that is connected to so much like I am my body thinking that is incorrect when you are a soul that exists in the body. You like literally the pain. I have something that I call uterine envy. I really wish I could like hold a child. I know many trans femmes really feel that same way. Like the thing that we understand that a lot of barren, unfertile women understand, and a lot of you know what I'm saying, even the cis women that can have babies and trans men that can still have babies understand is that like the thing that being genetically female like makes you capable of doing is something that is so special. It's something that you feel in a world that has nothing but disrespect for it. It needs to be something that's coveted, right? And I agree, it's precious. It's not something that should be spoken of lightly. It's not something that should be taken lightly, and it's not something that should be just thrown away or act like it has no importance. But it is not the predication of your womanhood. That is not what your womanhood is.
You better say that.
Mm-hmm.
Your womanhood is the thing that even invites the ability to have that thing be something that happens, which is the connection to creation. Which I don't give a fuck what none of y'all vagina having bitches have to say. I have in spades, honey. My kids are everywhere on these streets, honey. I have loose, set free, birth clothes.
Dang it!
I have questions though. I have questions. I you know, often we say the devil needs no advocates, right? But if women, a lot of the devil needs no advocates, right? But if a lot of cis women connect their womanhood to their parts, then why do they get upset if they make it all about their parts? Why?
It's not them.
It's
not them doing it. It's patriarchy
in the mind.
Right.
Like also enforcing those ideals that like because all cis white men care about is women's parts. Like you're a baby factory. So
exactly. That's why I asked that question.
That's the paradigm they live in. Let me not say
that's why I asked that question.
It's that productivity programming that everybody is like so fucking gung ho about, because like the only thing that you can actually be happy about in this society is your productivity. Even if you're out like just having fun in a field, doing something, anything, right? Like you feel better if you pitch the tent than if you just like sat, you know what I'm saying, doing nothing, right? Whereas like you could probably find some shelter that's already set up to some degree, that nature has already got you covered without having to break something and then mold something and do all these other things. You know what I'm saying? So like just that productivity programming gets them every time. And I guess when you can be a producer just in your body, right? They gotta get you quick and fast and in a hurry and strong, and make sure that you understand to some degree that your worth is only predicated on what you produce and your ability to produce.
So you don't like something that you're upholding. I just need people to hear it.
Yeah,
That's just me people.
because
like
they want to break it their way, and they don't want to break it. They want to bend it. You already know these voting hoes.
It's that same concept. Everybody loves intersectionality until it no longer serves them.
Mm-hmm.
You said a word. I like that. That's a bar. I'm stealing that. You'll get 10%.
Stolen.
Bars, and we got it right here.
That will only be heard on Patreon.com.
You better get black. The entire time they're talking, it's gonna be. You gotta pay for that.
Patreon flashing like.
Oh, boy.
Actually, before we get into the rest, let's take 5.
Yo!